my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
They're here.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's showtime.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the VHS Strikes Back. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to the VHS Strikes Back, the show where we dust off the old video player and go on a nostalgic journey to look at the good and the bad movies of yesteryear. Now, Chris, what are we going to review this week?
Well, Dave, we are going to review, it's a Patreon pick. It is the legend that is Spider-Dan, the man who's brought us Necromantic in the past, Dave, that has scarred my eyes for ever since, and I'd still think about that movie whenever we're doing this podcast. It's just engraved on my brain. We're going back, Dave, to 1972. This apparently is a sci-fi comedy directed by Lee Frost. It stars Ray Milland, Rosey Grier, Don Marshall, Roger Perry, and this is The Thing with Two Heads. Now, Dave, had you even heard of this movie before our great friend Spider-Dan suggested it for us?
I definitely hadn't. But again, we've said this with some of the 70s movies. There's something familiar about it. You know, and again, just growing up and seeing these things either late at night or, you know, on a Sunday afternoon. You probably wouldn't have had this one on a Sunday afternoon. It would have been a late night job. You know, this kind of body horror thing you've got there. I think the thing it sort of made me think about was the man with two brains. You know, the Steve Martin one from the early 80s. But yeah, I had nothing with this. And I was kind of, you know, he's thrown a few out there, hasn't he, Dan? There's never a safe option. And I think I said, you know, his mission is to inject a bit more weirdness into the podcast. So I think mission accomplished. So yeah, how about yourself, Crystal? I think I know the answer.
No, never ever seen it. But you know what I've been thinking about all week, Dave, and it's and it won't surprise anybody. But a couple of years ago, you know, obviously you've got the famous WhatsApp groups, and you get these videos passed around. And one of these videos popped up. Don't worry, I'm not getting down for a 5 stretch. It's there was a video of a guy with 2 dicks, right? And I'm thinking, this can't be fucking real. You know, one of them where you're like, it's like a porno video for about 10 minutes. I'm thinking, this is bullshit. And what happened was this guy had gone on Reddit, and it's a massive, it went viral, this. And people listening may know this, but he'd gone on Reddit and they were talking about, what happens. Someone had said, what happens if you had 2 dicks or something, some thread on Reddit. And this guy came and went, I've got 2 dicks. And they were like, fuck off. And basically, this guy has got 2 dicks and has done a porno, and that's the video that was maybe knocking around, Dave. So you're absolutely fascinating. I'm not being funny, Dave. He was packing as well. So you've got one dick on top of the other, right? They both get hard at the same time. You can obviously imagine what the video was.
How does he not pass out?
Well, that was the thing. That was what he was talking about, like the blood and everything, because obviously it goes to that area. And there was that, but it basically said it was such a miserable life because it's like it was. So you actually felt sorry for the guy. So it was like he was a freak show, if that makes sense, you know, which is a terrible thing to say. But I was fascinated when I was reading the thread. I was like, and then the video was there, and everyone was like, have you seen that guy, lucky bastard, and all this? And I'm thinking, what, is he really? You know, when he was
is it really a lucky bastard?
It's real. It's
like
real.
it.
I'm not bullshitting. It genuinely is.
No. I mean, is he lucky, though? It doesn't seem that lucky. It's,
the poor guy he didn't, it was like hell. It's like when you see these guys, and they've got massive fucking dongs, and it's like, yeah, great. Yeah, I've got a fucking 12-inch cock, but have you ever tried to, you know, sleep with somebody like that? Most of them can't take that, Dave. You know, there is movies available where it looks like they can, but I don't think most can, allegedly. But
not a problem I have to ever consider.
I've never had that. I told you. Call me Woody Woodpecker, Dave. Don't worry about that. But it is. I was fascinated, going, what the fuck? And then obviously in real life, you do get where you get the twins, don't you? Like they've unfortunately fused together in like the womb, and then they've had operations, don't they? You've had families where they live like that with like the 2 heads, and it's like 2 bodies sort of intertwined together in it, unfortunately. So it is something like this is you know, it's a completely different thing. I mean, the fucking tagline for the movie, I think you said last week, they transplanted a white bigot's head onto a soul brother's body. I mean, fucking hell. It's just, it is 70s, that, isn't it? That's like the tagline on the actual bloody VHS cover, which is naughty anyway, I think, really. But it's one of them movies where when you said it last week, and I had no clue Spider-Dan had picked this, and I didn't know it was Dan's pick, and then I'm like, holy shit, I've got to sit down. And I was thinking, do I need alcohol to watch this? And I never watch our movies with alcohol. Do I need any of the hard stuff, Dave? You know, like laughing. But yeah, this has fascinated me all week, like wanting to watch it. And I've only watched it yesterday, not because, and I know that's like a classic, you know what I'm like, lastminute.com, but it wasn't. I genuinely put the time aside thinking, I have got to sit here and watch this because Spider-Dan pulls these out the bag. And I was like, I have never heard of this movie. But that's not unusual because it isn't in my wheelhouse as a horror movie. And the funny thing was, I was having my tattoo redone yesterday. I was going to
say, you were spreading, not only watching it, Chris, you were spreading the word.
I was spreading the word, Dave. So I'd had my Superman done last week. So I've got my Superman on my inner arm. But my Batman, Heath Ledger Joker, I'd not realised how badly, when I got it infected last December, that the eyes were just blurred. And it looked pretty cool. But I was like, yeah, I think it needs. So anyway, my cousin was the tattoo, like, yeah, I need to come in. So I walked into the tattoo place and they're watching a horror movie, and as I walk in, some woman's head just melts down the side of a car. It's something called Smile or something on Netflix. I was like, what? And my cousin's laughing on, you hate horror movies. And the two women who were there, one's getting tattooed, the other's they're laughing. And one of them was a proper gov, and she's got all that horror stuff. She's like, I love horror, and they're talking about horror films. And I'm like, I hate stuff like that. Next minute, some guy pulls his face off in front of me, and I'm like, yeah, I don't need to watch this. So luckily, that movie ended.
The tattoo place is the best place if you got jump scares.
Well, Dave, I'm not joking. There is the biggest it's a running joke. They have the biggest fucking dildo you've ever seen, and it's like a suction one that you would put in the shower. I'm not joking. It must be about 30 inches long. And every time you walk in, it's just there attached to the mirror where you check your tattoo. It's a fucking massive fucking dildo, Dave, right? It's just there.
A fire extinguisher.
Dave, I'm telling you, it fucking kills somebody if you hit him with it. It's fucking massive. King Dong's got nothing on him. Dirk Diggler won't even reach this thing. But it's there, like a suction thing you put in the shower. And it's on the fucking, it's like a horse's cock. But anyway, so I'm fucking... These women leave, and we're watching. We've had music on and that. I was only there for like an hour and a half because it was just a bit of a touch up. And then I started talking about the silly movie. Like, you won't believe the movie I've just watched today, The Thing with Two Heads. So obviously this is available on YouTube. So I went, let's put it on. And my cousin and the lad who runs the tattoo, who my cousin works for, I used to go to school with. So he loves. Me and him talk about all these 80s movies. He actually listened to some of our episodes. You know, some of the VHS movies. But he loves some of the horror. Awful stuff. So he knew about Necromantic, everything. And my cousin didn't. I'm talking about Necromantic, and I'm talking about dancing. Yeah, he picked Necromantic. And and then my cousin went, it's not the German one where she fucks a fucking skeleton, is it? I went, yeah, that's the one. Puts the pipe on his cock. And I said, it's on YouTube. So then we put this on, and my cousin was like, I'm going to have to roll a fucking joint. And I haven't done that for fucking 20 years. We get drug tested. I'm like, you don't need a joint. But when I watched it, I felt like I was fucking stoned again. I've not been stoned for over 20 years. And he's rolling the joint. And I went, he's going to make you worse. And he was wasting a bit of time because he was going out. He said, I'm going to have to wait. It's about 5 o'clock last night. I went, I'm going to have to go. And I showed him the bit where the head transplanted. And he's fucking jaws. He went, I'm going to tattoo someone next week. I'm just going to put this on and not say anything while I'm fucking in pain and just leave it on. And he said, I've got to watch the whole thing. And I went, well, wait till Ben's in. He's like, he's my mate and who's the boss. I said, and watch it together. And he went, I'm just going to put it on. I said, Ben might have watched it. He went, I don't think he has. I said, so I've spreading Spider-Dan's word. Necromantic he knew about. He knew about Party at Kitty and fucking whatever it was, you know, with Stallone's bollocks hanging out. So, yeah, Dan's done the Lord's work with these movies. So I'm spreading Spider-Dan's movie knowledge. Amazing stuff.
Great stuff there. Like you say, spreading the word. I'm picturing this whole scene and someone having a big spliff and being like, what the fuck is this? You know,
yeah,
but
what's going on here?
Yeah. Well, on that bombshell, should we get into the trailer?
Let's go.
It seemed like a good idea at the time. The white bigot was dying, and the black soul brother needed time to prove his innocence.
More power to you, brother. I want to transplant my head on a healthy body.
I think I like to donate my body to science after all.
So they transplanted the white head onto the black body. Who would have suspected that neither would care for the idea too much?
What are you guys doing to me?
Shut up.
Where's the rest of you?
We are joined together temporarily.
Williams, stop this car immediately.
Why don't you shut up? Hey, that's telling him, man.
I should have known your kind stick together.
Will you please stop this infernal machine? Or just shut up. Help! Shut up.
You a doctor?
So far, so good. Then how about you taking old happy face off of here? They're shooting at us! Man, this car's a real dud.
Could I have a cigarette?
Oh, sure, honey.
Hey, man, are we smoking while I'm eating?
Stick your head out the window and see if any more is coming.
Ray Milland and Rosey Grier as The Thing with Two Heads.
You get some sleep, baby.
Why don't you stay here for a little while?
It's no use, honey. Maybe when I get used to it.
Now you know you got to go.
Dr. Maxwell Krishna arrives at a mansion in a wheelchair, and once inside, Krishna asks, has his experiment been a success? He's told by the orderly it has been. He is taken to the basement, where the experiment is in fact a two-headed gorilla that Dr. Krishna has created. The experiment is to determine whether two heads can survive on a single body. Krishna has done this because he has not much longer to live and wants to transplant himself onto a lifeless body donor. Now, Chris, what do you reckon to the opening of this movie?
Well,
as if I don't already know.
Well, what I can say is it feels like a proper 70s like daytime TV movie, or it starts like that. And I wasn't sure. Watching the trailer last week, I was like, this is a comedy. Like, it's got to be a fucking piss take. Is it like a Benny Hill thing? Are they now like some like random hop? Are they like a duo? Are they a detective team? What's going on? And the trailer, and I don't know whether that was a proper trailer or it was a family one. That trailer was not the movie that this is. This is supposed. I don't think it's a fucking comedy. I don't think it's a horror movie. It's almost like a suspense type movie, and it's fucking bobbins as well. Let's be honest, it's fucking absolute shit on toast, this movie. But I was watching it like I need to just keep watching it and watch. You know, I know we had to watch, but you know, like one of them ones. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like, what the whole premise of the movie, obviously with the gorilla and the guys in the wheelchair, I say he's got this terminal fucking cancer and all this stuff. But when you see the gorillas in that, I mean, it's bad in Trading Places, isn't it? They're supposed to be the fake, and that's in the 80s. Yeah. But this is fucking terrible. Like when you're doing the close-up shots to get away, but there's obviously two people there in the gorilla suit and all that. But like with the guy when he's got the head on, when they're moving, it's like something you'd see at a school fucking play when you were a kid or something, wasn't it? Oh, I better just make this paper mache fucking head or whatever. This movie is terrible, but also I can also see why it's a cult classic as well. I can see why Spider-Dan's picked it, because with the trailer last week, I was like, oh, this is going to be fucking amazing. Like, going to be terrible, but amazing. But watching it is fucking, it's so slow and shit, basically. It is. It's a terrible movie. But anyway, go on, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, the pacing of it say about the 70s movies, I've kind of got used to it now. I calibrate my mind. I'm like, okay, it's going to be a slower pace, but fuck me, this is almost static. It's like mostly watching something between Quincy and Twilight Zone or
Yes.
Outer Limits or something like that. That's kind of what it feels like. It's not like you say a horror as such, but there are body horror elements, and it is just this sci-fi exploration of, well, what if we did this thing? So I can't say I enjoyed it watching it through. However, it is one of those that played on my mind a little bit after, so I always give a film a little bit more credit. If it kind of lives with me for a bit longer, as soon as I've stopped it, then, I do give it props for that. What I did find, Chris, is that there is a film that came out the year before in 1971, because, I mean, we talk about 70s stuff, but even the stuff that we've done before, a lot of it feels more mid to late 70s, whereas this one,
Yes.
it almost feels 60s, doesn't it? It's right on the border there. In 1971, there is a movie called The Incredible Two-Headed Transplant. Right, and it is basically this big fucker, and it looks like from the trailer he's got like some psycho. He's the extra head, if you like, but he's the one controlling the body. So he's got this big, he looks like fucking John Candy or something, but, basically going around murdering people. I suspect, and I might be way off, but it's, nothing I've found on the internet suggests that it was at least inspired by, but I kind of feel like someone's watched that in 1971, rapidly put together this one note fucking joke, which I predicted last week. I said, this is going to be like just that's it. That's the whole joke. That's the comedy element. The fact that you've got this racist bigot, on this black guy's body and stuff. That'll be the joke it was. I reckon someone's watched that movie and thought, it'd be funny, wouldn't it, if like someone accidentally ends up, they're racist, and then they have to confront their racism because they're put on a black guy's body. So, yeah, I did reach out to Dan, spoke to him a little bit about this. Might have floated the idea about us maybe going on Dan's podcast and doing a Clone Wars. So this is where it'll compare two movies. So yeah, it might have another one lined up, Chris.
Now listen, you're cashing checks here. You're writing checks you can't cash, because I know nothing about this, Dave. If I'm watching some skeleton fuck some two-headed monster or something, I'm not fucking watching it. I'm telling you. But no, we should do that because we can go on again, Dave. But the first time we went on was actually a good movie. Yeah.
Well, two, wasn't it? We were comparing Kickboxer and Bloodsport there, so...
Yeah, but not that. I dread to think what the fuck we're going to be fucking comparing. Oh, my God. Dave, we need to chat off podcast now. Not for going on Dan's show, but what the fuck we're going to be doing.
We actually do.
I'm getting stitched here.
Obviously we chat loads outside the podcast as well, but I thought I would sprinkle you with that one while we were recording.
Yay!
Just to get that raw, authentic reaction.
Yeah, you have. I'm fucking putting my V's up to you virtually, you bastard. Anyway, but no, I do feel like you're right. I think like it feels like a late 60s sort of. You can almost feel like that hippie music type late 60s stuff going on. It does feel very TV movie in production. The music seems dead familiar. Obviously, we were born like in the mid to late 70s, and these sort of movies in the 80s, even early 90s, were still being shown. These sort of like 60s, 70s movies, daytime TV. There wasn't like the exposure to films like there is now on Sky. If you had Sky and Sky Movies, you'd get movies, but it would be like 12 months down the line. Now, literally within a few months, all the latest films are out and they're there. Yeah. So this was something, I'm with you, this is without doubt a BBC Two or a Channel 4 movie that was on at late night as a bit of an intro and say, right, this is a proper old school horror, comedy, whatever. And that's the only way this would have been on UK TV. but it feels very familiar, and I don't know. That's why I'm not. Dan hasn't. I'm not going to say this is the worst film ever because it's not. Because it simply isn't. It feels dead familiar. It feels like a movie that you would have seen when you were a kid, if that makes sense. So I'm not. Honestly, I'm not offended by it at all. I was actually like mesmerized watching it, thinking, "Fucking hell, how have I never heard of this thing?" But the acting is awful, and the whole premise of like what this old guy's doing and how that even works. I mean, going to people on death row, we're just getting a megaphone going, would you like to donate your body to medical science? And rah, rah, rah. And then looking, this guy's about to be, he's on the chair and he goes, yeah, I'd like to do that. And I've always proclaimed my innocence. So then I'm thinking, hang on a minute. We're going to get a little bit of a clash between, this fucking bigoted white guy and the black guy who's on death row, and who's really the baddie? Are they going to solve the case? There's none of that fucking shit going on, Dave. This fucking movie, when they put the heads together, that is outstanding. The blood looks like fucking treacle or something. It doesn't look like blood, does it, at all? It's bizarre, but I didn't enjoy it, as I said, but I'm not offended by it. And I'll be telling people about this and sending this to people if they say, have you got a movie for me, just to wind them up, because it is just ridiculous, this movie.
And I think he might have done his job a bit here, Dan, because it's not... And I said before, I didn't particularly enjoy it, but it is gnawing into my brain a little bit. And I don't think... Dan's not sending us these movies because he thinks they're the greatest movies that have ever been made. No. But there's something about it. And I think it is. There is definitely something about this. You can tell why it's a cult movie. It does have that kind of extended Twilight Zone feel to it. You say about, you thought they might be off trying to solve the crime, trying to prove this guy's innocence. Well, the question I would ask you, Chris, how can you do that when you spend about 20 fucking minutes on a bike chase?
Yes, exactly.
It's fucking ridiculously long, that scene. But I mean, that's a little bit later, isn't it? And they spend so long on it, honestly. In that moment, I was bored of that. But there's lots of things to consider as well. It's slightly uncomfortable where the guy and there's a lot of people in prison who feel like they're wrongly convicted, isn't there? And it's like a trope, and you see it in the movies and stuff. Like I can't think of one off the top of my head, but like people say, "Oh yeah, everyone in here is innocent," kind of thing. But this guy probably was, and so I mean that pays off later, because I tell you what, I'm not going to talk about it now, but what I will say is I had a particular perception about this movie right up until a twist moment, and then I think that is the thing that's made me think about it much more later.
I'm with you. I was like, this movie's turned into Eat My Fucking Dust. It's a Roger Corman film. It's literally just for literally the majority of the film, it is a car chase movie, innit? And then a bike chase, and just Benny Hill, Keystone Cop shit, where they've obviously got some massive field or someone's land with loads of acres and gone, just drive around here, because they're just driving. It's ages, like you say. I've never seen anything like it. It's not the Cannonball Run. It's not Smoking the Bandit. It's not fucking Bullet. This is probably longer than Bullet with Steve McQueen, this car chase. It's just ridiculous. And then I was crying when they punched him in the face and knocked him out and stuff. And they both did it. I thought that was fucking brilliant. I was showing my cousin going, he actually knocks the other guy out. And I'm like, what? He goes, what? I went, watch. And then fucking throws a fucking right hook or whatever he does. Fucking brilliant.
Well, going back, the guy is obviously dying, so that's why he's trying to do this whole transplant thing. And he's obviously a racist piece of shit, right? He's all of his attitude is not a nice person at all. But he doesn't want to take someone's life. He wants to, be on a body where maybe they're brain dead or something like that. And so, that's what he was thinking. And then they had to they had to stick him on this guy who's stuck on death row. So, you know, and then it's the interaction between them. I think the only again, you know, the whole movie's about the kind of racist element of it, but I'm like, when he's going on about, oh yeah, in this body, I feel so powerful, you know, like, well, that's a bit fucking racist in itself, like just the implications of it, and it's like, ah, oh, fucking hell, and then, you know, the comedy bit is that there's one bit where, I mean, he goes to his girlfriend's, and you know, she doesn't seem that surprised. You know, she's just like, "Oh, you all right? How's it go? Oh, you got another head on your body there. It's a bit weird." And then she just asks, "You know, is it only heads? You know, heads you've got two of?" Kind of looks down to your Reddit post with the guy with two cocks. But that was the only joke that I think was actually in there. But yeah, just fucking bonkers, Chris. But so stretched out, and I'm really waiting for something to happen, because there's not a lot of back and forth. There's no slapstick stuff. It's just, and you know, all I'm thinking is, Christ, these actors must have been so fucking uncomfortable, because it looks physically uncomfortable to me. I would not like to be that close, cheek to cheek, with anyone for any length of time. So I was thinking more about the actors than the characters, if I'm honest.
Yeah, and I'm with you as well, because like there's a reason that the guy they pick, who obviously was on death row, he's a big guy, and he looks like he's an American footballer or something, doesn't he? Like which for the 70s especially, is really unusual to have like such a big looking dude as a character. But that makes sense for when they're doing this like head on head thing, because obviously he's sat on top of the other guy, the old guy, so it looks. When he gets up and walks, the fucking old guy's head's flopping all the time as he's fucking moving. It looks like someone it's a knockout. You know, he needs to put their big bodies on, and flopping and all that, and they'd be fucking hitting the deck and everything. But the best line of the movie is when he goes to see his girlfriend, doesn't it? And he's chatting to her, and she tries to put the lips on him, and then she's like, "No," and I'm thinking, this is Spider-Dan. This is a fucking porno. Fucking done me here. We're going to get the old one, and they're going to get the fucking both of them going for it in some softcore fucking porn thing. She's going to start fucking going for it necromantic style, but it's not. But that point, I did think, is that the fucking twist? But you're right. It's so slow, and to get to the point takes so fucking long, doesn't it? Like what the premise of it is. And that car chase is literally where they've gone on the cutting room floor. We've got fuck all here.
Yeah, you're going to have to stretch this out.
This is going to be like Tales from the Crypt. It's a 15-minute story, so we need to stretch this to 90 minutes. So I'll tell you what, let's put this car chasing. So it looks like wacky racers. It just looks like just silly, doesn't it? It looks like something you would have seen in, like, say, the Cannonball Run was made early 70s, you know, something like that. It baffles me. And the police are just ridiculous, aren't they, in this? The police, fucking hell. Unbelievable.
They are Smokey and the Bandit levels, aren't they? They're just completely incompetent. And I guess I can see it in my mind's eye now, though, where they're on the bike. The reason I can recall it so well is because, you know, it lasted for so long in the movie. And then you've got this kind of backstory, haven't you, where his team of doctors and stuff are also trying to solve, you know, the mystery of how you would do this. And they bring in the other doctor, don't they? And, you know, he's saying, well, you know, you basically have to kill the person. You could just chop their head off, you know. And again, you have this kind of interaction because the doctor is quite happy to chop, you know, the other guy's head off. But, you know, he doesn't want to be killed. It'll be murder. So, you know, there's a bit of stuff going on. But I think you're right. I think this is a 15 to 20 minute Twilight Zone or something like that, and then just they stretched it out for a 90-minute movie.
Yeah, 100%. And I will say though, Dave, it does look, the old guy and the other guy, they both look like off camera they had a load of fun. You know, can you imagine in between takes them just like becoming good mates and just taking the piss. Like the bit when he's eating the dinner and the suit is huge. I mean, it looks like he's got it looks like the biggest man you've ever seen, doesn't it? Like for the purpose when he sat down, and obviously the old guy stood behind him and he was just putting his head through, and they've got that neck brace on and everything.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
and they're both, one of them's eating, the other one's smoking, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on? But again, like I say, genuinely, you can clearly see, I think that this would have been a lot of fun to film, but the premise of it is just ridiculous. Absolutely silly. Yeah. But the music is very 70s, very daytime TV, as I said. Like, it just feels dead familiar. And that's why I think Spider-Dan's done a great job picking this. But I don't know whether what reaction he wanted, whether he wanted me to go, this is what it just simply isn't. I'm just fascinated watching it, thinking, how has this even been made?
Yeah, and I was just looking up, Chris. So Rosey Grier, he was actually a former star player in the Los Angeles Rams in the 60s. So you're right. He was, yeah, big American football player. So, yeah, good shout there. Good shout.
But yeah, and I think as well, Dave, what gets me is, as obviously we're trying to get rid of his head Roosevelt's head. He's trying to, like, basically on his own, the old guy, to live and all that. But I think at the end, these fucking hospitals and that they're going in, they're so fucking dirty and like like they're not sanitized at all. They show a bit where they're sanitizing it all down, don't they? The police come and bring him in, and then at the end as well. And to be fair to Roosevelt, Dave, he's a strong guy because he's literally he's sat on his back in some of these scenes. He looks like he's about 6'4". He's a big bloke. But what a movie probably to make your debut in. Pitching it to him. Do you fancy doing this movie? And I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah, I honestly, I've really enjoyed going through it, and just it's utterly ridiculous. But it's not a comedy. It's not a horror. I don't know what it is. It's pitching as a science fiction and comedy, and I don't laugh once. It's more the ridiculousness of the movie. When the old guy chins Roosevelt and he's like, he's asleep in it and he knocks the cop out and everything, and he's like, get over here. It's like, come on, what's going on here? But just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. It's not exactly the video of the man with two dicks, is it? Let's be honest. It doesn't go down that route. I think I'd give it more credit if it had turned into a proper softcore porno or something.
I'm just looking. I'm not sure if it's my dyslexia. I think I might have called him Krishna before. It was Kirshner. But the doctor, basically, he. So where it turns for me in terms of, is this just fucking shit and I'm going to tear strips off this? Through the whole movie, in fact, even before I talk about that, the reason I say about Twilight Zone. So Twilight Zone, I mean, a lot of the episodes, they were varying quality and, how scary they were or how much they made you think. But it was playing on some kind of science fiction element, some factor. So this one is all about transplants, which was, through the 20th century, they do more sort of transplants, and then someone thinks, oh, what if you could put a head onto another body or something like that, and that's it, and just exploring that thing. But for me, what the Twilight Zones used to do, it just made you think about something. And after you've watched it, so it's not particularly horror, it's not particularly science fiction, they're not on the Starship Enterprise or anything. It's not particularly, certainly not massively a comedy, laugh out loud comedy, but it makes you think. So I don't know what genre that is, but that's what I feel this one is. And as you're going through the movie, you've got Kirshner, that he's ill and he wants to do this thing to extend his life, but he'd said initially earlier in the movie that he's looking for a healthy body, but he doesn't want to take someone's life. He just wants the healthy body. So maybe someone who's kind of brain dead or whatever. But when he punches out Jack, and so he's unconscious. And then you can see he's in the operating theatre. And again, I don't think infection control was a massive thing in the 70s. It's funny to watch it now, and hospitals now do look a bit different, more sterile environments. But I mean, you're thinking he's going to cut off Jack's head and then just go off into the sunset, and this is what he wanted. He wanted to extend his life. Unfortunately, Jack, well, he was on death row anyway, so he would have died. So, that's how I think the movie is going. But then when the doctors come back in, you realise, well, no, he's cut his own head off. So, I mean, he's still alive. He's got the bright red fake blood tubes going into him, but he's actually removed his own head, and then weirdly a massive fucking cut, and they're just fucking singing away in the car. It's like, hey,
yeah, I know.
Happy days, happy days, and it's like, he's still sort of guilty according to the law. Did you not want to prove your innocence or anything? No. Oh, happy days.
That's not maybe ridiculous.
But
and the
it's
thing
that
is,
twist. Sorry, it's that twist that's got me. It's all the way through the movie, this racist piece of shit I got no fucking sympathy for whatsoever. But he doesn't want to kill an innocent man, so he's sort of set him free, and then he still wants to live, but he's not going to do it at the expense of another human being. So that was the moment where I was like, okay, you fucking got me, down here. You got me.
Yeah. I love the end bit, because as well that like the collar is now completely removed. There's no scarring. He's sort of there, but he's rocking, he's bopping his head and everything, and he's doing a proper like head wobble, like, yeah, I'm fine, yeah, so let's go, everybody. But I've been reading actually about it. So Roosevelt, Rosey Grier is his name, and he was a massive. He had a TV show in the 70s, like doing like about current affairs. He was a bodyguard for the Kennedy family, Dave. So when JFK's brother Robert Kennedy got someone made an assassination attempt on, to shoot him, and he got shot, but he was the one who disarmed the guy and everything and all this. So he's like a really interesting person. Like, he does a lot of inspirational stuff in the communities and that. So yeah, and he is a big fucker as well. He is about 6'4", something like that. But he said when they were trying to kill this guy who was trying to assassinate the other Kennedy, and he threw off all the other bodyguards and was like, I don't want any more violence. He's subdued now. He grabbed the gun and took the gun off him, and he's mad. But just reading about him as a person, like, he's like a really, really nice person. He doesn't really mention this movie, to be fair. Just mentions what a great guy it is. But yeah, he was quite a well-known face on the American TV in the 70s.
Yeah, you know what else he was on, Chris? And this is completely fucking accidental. I didn't know or look this up before. I mentioned Quincy. He was on fucking Quincy playing himself.
Oh, fucking brilliant. Well, he says here that he went to see OJ in jail, before the trial, and OJ confessed everything, but obviously got away with it. So he's still alive, 1932. So he's got to be, 92? He is. Unbelievable.
Good innings.
Yeah, good guy. So yeah, but anything else, Dave, before we get into the score?
No, I think that's it. I think we should get into our final review.
Let's go. So, Dave, massive thank you to Spider Dan. Dan, I'm really pleased you picked this one, mate, because there's no way I would have in any lifetime watched this movie. But I enjoyed it, and I don't know why. It's utterly nonsense, and I'm not going to say I'm going to watch it again. I'm not, but I'm certainly going to send it people just to fucking wind them up, Dave, because this is absolute nonsense TV. It's a daytime TV show that could have been compressed into 15 minutes with a 20 to 25 minute car chase, which beats most films for car chases. I've never seen anything like it. It's like a cartoon, the thing. The police are fucking useless. But I think there is a payoff at the end. Like you said, though, there's no real explanation that he's still guilty, but for some reason, because he's explaining his innocence, he just gets and go and lives his life, and he's gone. See you later, no problem. Well, you know, no one's going to come and chase him. But yeah, I'm going to send this one, Dave. I think I'm going to send it to Elm Street. I think it's still a great movie, but it isn't good enough to be a Hill Valley. It's just nonsense. But it was a movie that I sort of enjoyed, and I don't know why, and I really feel dirty saying that because it's absolutely shit, but it's just ridiculous as well. Just for the two head scenes, they are classic, and yeah. And I did think it was going to turn into some softcore porn movie at that point, Dave, about movies. So what about yourself?
I mean, you've described it as a great movie there in your wrap-up, but I'm not sure if I can stretch to that bit. But it definitely, I can see why it's a cult classic, and it is around that ending bit. But, you know, we've done movies like The Conversation, where it's all the build-up, and then, you know, you get this kind of twist near the end. So, yeah, definitely it's better than I thought it was going to be for 90% of the movie. And that fucking car chase, well, I'd say car chase, they're on a bike, aren't they? So, but everyone knows what you mean by a car chase. And I'm looking, you know, at articles, longest car chase scenes in movie history. This doesn't appear on the list, weirdly, but, you know, because they're thinking about other movies. But I reckon this is in the conversation for, like, this should be in there, because that fucking scene was so long, you know, where they're trying to just stretch out this the story that should be a 20-minute Twilight Zone episode. But I think I'm with you. I think this is an Elm Street. It's not higher than that. Like I say, I'm very, very unlikely to watch the whole film again. But it did play on my mind after, and I thought the ending I probably should have seen coming, but I didn't see coming, and that was the thing that kind of grabbed me. And you know, it took a long way to get there, but got there eventually. So yeah, and the music, I mean, that's one of the things that makes it feel so familiar, you know. So all the music with it as well did make me smile.
Yeah, good stuff, good stuff. So, Dave, it's my pick, my friend. Now, I'm going to pick a movie that I loved when I was younger, from about 10, 11, when this came out. We're going back to 1987. It stars three people who I loved. So I loved Ted Danson in Cheers. Obviously, we did Steve Guttenberg a few weeks ago with Short Circuit with your pick. I love Mahoney. I love, you know, Steve Guttenberg. But we've got Magnum P.I., Dave. We've got Tom Selleck, and this movie, both of the movies I love, and I know they're not action, they're not martial arts, they're not anything, and it's been on my list for ages, but we're going to watch an absolute classic that as a kid always used to make me fucking tear up, Dave. So we're going to be watching Three Men and a Baby. Let's go.
Touchstone Pictures presents
Touchstone, Dave, you know it's a comedy.
What's the other one? Look Who's Talking with John Travolta as well.
Yeah, I picked that one.
I'm dressed.
That's it. Three incredibly eligible men hoping to meet some incredibly perfect women.
So many women.
Now, at last, they're about to find that one girl who will sweep them off their feet.
I know. Yeah, but then at the end of Cheers, he pulled the back of his head out. It's a ball patch.
No.
He pulled like a big thing out at the end of Cheers.
doesn't look anything like me. I have more hair.
I want to see the way you three big guys handle this one.
I had to go to
I went to see, do you
remember
that Becca?
2 different kinds of diapers.
Ted Danson was in?
Yeah.
I saw that live.
You do
Saw
realize
that was in part of the live studio audience. Across LA.
Or to sleep. And there's been all over this place for days. I build 50-story skyscrapers. I assemble cities of the future. I can certainly put together a diaper. Will somebody please tell me what the hell is going on around here? Figure it out for yourself.
Are they always this strange? Yes. Since they got involved with another woman.
Touchstone Pictures presents 3 normally intelligent men and 1 little girl.
So, what do you want to do?
They're about to discover the only thing worse than raising her
I don't feel like social services would be
is
involved in this.
losing her. We should be her family.
And let me tell you, the first time you get to work, Daddy, I don't care who you are. Your heart just melts. can you drive a little faster, please?
Touchstone Pictures presents a comedy about 3 dedicated bachelors and the one woman in the world they couldn't live without.
Good night, sweetheart.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah.
I hate to leave you, but I really must say, good night, sweetheart. Good night.
3 men and a baby.
I think she did a doodle. Your turn to change her. I'll give you $1,000 if you'll do it.
I'll do it for $1,000.
Yeah, absolutely. So, amazing pick, I'd say, Chris. I loved this one as well as a kid. Not watched it for a very long time, but yeah, what an iconic one. Have we not done this one before? So, yeah, great pick, that.
Yeah, it's a proper 80s one, Dave. And, you know, I've got a few car ones, and obviously I've got the martial arts stuff, but I've not done martial arts one for ages. So I'm like, no, should we do something wholesome? So, yeah, we're going back, Dave. 80s. This is pure 80s. Around the same time was like Big, Look Who's Talking was a couple of years later. These sort of daft movies that I love. So we'll see. We'll see if it holds up. The second one I liked. I know that gets slated, but I did actually like that. The conclusion, really, to the little mini saga, I suppose. But anyway, massive thank you, Spider Dan. You did your job there, my friend. Really enjoyed that. If you want to email us, the vhsstrikesback@gmail.com. Follow us on social media at vhsstrikesback. If you want to support us, please get over to patreon.com/the VHS Strikes Back. So, the roll call of honour for today, and a massive thank you and welcome back to Mr. Glyn Davis, who's joined the Patreon again. So, Glyn will be having a pick in a few weeks, and no doubt he'll want to come on and guest star with us again. So, we'll see what Glyn has up his sleeve. But massive thank you to Mr. John Malone again, Mike, Lee, Helen, Dylan, Stephen, Trent, Dan, Justin, Susan, Timothy, Matt, Hales, Kent, Lucky Lulu Green, Herbs, Jax, Math, Blake, Glyn Davis, John Hammond, and Mr. Tony Farina. So thank you so much, guys, for all your support. Amazing support from everybody. And yeah, we'll wait to see what you has to pick, Dave.
Great stuff, great stuff. Now, Chris, before we get into our final wrap-up, I want to sprinkle on you some musical something that I don't know where I'm going with that because... So we were introduced. So if you're not on the Patreon, if you get over there, you might hear Chris's introduction. So we've just done the latest Beverly Hills Cop that came out, and Chris did introduce us to a song on that. But it's back to the regular show, and I did have a lot of fun with the music, as I mentioned before, for this one. This one, Chris, is called Two Bodies, One Soul. That bass.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is proper 70s. Come well here, Dave.
Even more 70s. It's probably worth a boogie night, you know.
Yeah, it is. I've got any wah guitar going on. Oh, I like that.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
You're a ninja, these two voices, Dave. I need to up my game, don't I?
Now they stuck together. It's a two-headed eye. The thing with two heads. Yeah, baby, yeah. The thing with two heads. Yeah, baby, yeah. The thing with two heads. Yeah, baby, yeah. The thing with two heads.
Oh, God, Dave.
I'm going to come back to that.
Ray Milland and Rosey Grier putting on a show. These guys, side by side they clash, trying to live together. It's a fucking car crash. Yow!
Shame it is AI. Voices are fucking amazing.
Unbelievable. You just know how to manipulate what to put in it. I like that. The mine was about actually all these bulbs in the Adidas stand, but yours was fucking pulling out the bag. Oh. Get a guitar, Dave. That's gorgeous. It's not good, Fender.
With the back and forth.
Yeah.
You in the background there.
Highly offended by that. Very good.
No, obviously, slight inside joke there, but I will sort of explain it. When I was putting it together, so back in the day, I don't think I've talked about this on the podcast, have I? But we've mentioned about when we were in the band and one of the other clingers on, this guy, Jeff, look, fucking Santana wannabe, and you go do a few little numbers, bit some blues stuff. You know, we were doing all the fucking old like punk things, but also the more modern indie, and then this weird fucking blues set in the middle. Never really understood it, but anyway, that's what it was. And you were doing the improvised vocals, and I remember, because you and I didn't know each other that well back then, I remember someone asking you about one of your go-tos was to do the baby 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 or something like that. I remember someone asking you, it's like, is that from something? No, I just made it up. I was just like, I wasn't directly involved in the conversation, but I just remember it, and I just remember thinking, yeah, that's bollocks. That's from like 50% of these type of early blues and soul songs. But
the legend of Chris Phelps was born, thinking he's a fucking bullshit. No, because he would start it, wouldn't he? And I haven't got a clue about musical fucking scales or keys. It'd be like, yeah, we're playing this in E or whatever. I'm like, oh yeah. And it'd be like, you go no, and then the guitar, so he could twiddle over the guitar and wank himself silly, like doing that shit fucking. Well, he was a good player, but it was always. He'd do Santana, but he'd jump on songs we were doing. I remember doing a gig where he stepped in as a guitarist. I think Aid, like my brother-in-law, who couldn't do it for some reason. But it's like Teenage Kicks, and he was doing like blues riffs over Teenage Kicks. We had the other guitarist who wasn't the best. And we did all these gigs. But yeah, he'd start it, and then all the songs was for, obviously with the blues, is for him then to just basically stand at the front of the stage thinking he's fucking Jimi Hendrix or, B.B. King or whatever. I would always start the same.
This is a pasty white bloke, by the way, in case anyone's trying to
exactly. Yeah, it looked like he was in Right Said Fred with a goatee, but he would like play the band politics when he'd play us all off occasionally. He'd come over to me and go, Chris, and he was a bit of a cockney, and he's like, Chris, fucking hell, your accent, your vocals unbelievable. You've come in really on the. Oh yeah, you're so much better than the band, and all this. But then he'd be telling, like, say you or you're so much better than the band. He'd be just completely massaging everyone's ego. But we were earning money, weren't we? Which was, he'd done it for years and not earned hardly any fucking money other than the old, because he was Jewish. He used to do a lot of like bar mitzvah stuff. So he would go and play in the background in the corner, like the proper bar. That really slow fucking melodic stuff, just background noise music, wine bar music, with a little bit of guitar twiddling away. And then when we started playing, we were like gigging every week, weren't we? We weren't massive, but as a covers band, we were just consistent, weren't we? We would go anywhere and we were playing all the time. We earned some good money out of it. And then he just wanted a piece of it.
You say that, Chris, but of course, if you are the tax man, we were doing this out of the love of it.
Exactly, Dave. Exactly, yeah. But everyone else got paid, but me and you, we did it for free. But I used to manage the band. He used to get us all the gigs. He used to do it all and everything. But he was literally always trying to muscle in on our band. And he would just play. And I remember every gig he would have to do some wanky blues thing from nowhere. He did pander because he was A's like mentor on the guitar. He got him into a band and he'd have to pander to him and go, "Oh, Jeff's coming down." And we'd be like, "Oh, for fuck's sake." And he'd come down. And then I would always start the same thing. It'd be something like, he'd do the thing, and I'd be like, something like nicking the line. This is actually, I have a blues, something like, "Gypsy woman stole my dog," or something like that. And I'd do it in that voice, keep it going. And it'd be like,
seems mildly offensive, I think, looking back at it now. Probably.
And then it'd be like, "I lost my woman, and I lost my dog, and then it'd be like, but I got a car, dude." And I just make some shit up. And then it would be, "Baby, baby, baby," and then he'd go into the solo, and it'd be like, "Fucking, that's amazing, Chris. What have you done?" Nothing. I've just made words up as I'm going because I haven't got a fucking clue musically what I'm actually doing other than trying to keep in some sort of key, which probably wasn't even in key. But yeah, those are the days, Dave. Fucking brilliant.
I had to put the baby, 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 baby in there. So just for that, the biggest inside joke out of the lot. But hopefully you know where we're coming from now. But Chris, amazing stuff. Thank you very much, Spider Dan, as well, for picking this one. Thanks to all our listeners out there. Thanks to all our supporters. And we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I'll be back.
That's not.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Wax on, wax off.
Get to the chopper!
One ring to go.
All right. Ding, ding.
Bust you up. Go for it.
Well, here we go.
Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Come on. Ain't so bad. You must be crazy or something. I'm crazy. You just a stupid fool.
Yeah, maybe
you crazy or something.
I ain't breathing heavy.
He's a fool. He's stupid. I've seen you in 6 months.
I must break you.